I really want to show you how easy it is to cook plant-based and bake plant-based.
I'm Anneli, a full-time registered nurse, a mother, a daughter of Alzheimer's, and a plant eater. Join me today. I'm baking some bread.
Hey, welcome back to my kitchen. So today is a little bit different. I'm making two different types of bread. Two types of bread that don't require any yeast, and they're both plant-based. Actually, I veganized one of them. So stay tuned till the end to see the hits and misses. Okay, so let me show you my ingredients. I'm using all-purpose flour. I was thinking of trying some whole wheat flour, but I think I'll just follow the recipes that I found this time. A little bit of sugar is needed. I've got some rolled oats for the second bread. Baking soda. This is what's going to give it the fluffiness. A little bit of salt. And this is, one of the breads requires some butter. So I've got a plant-based butter, which is a mixture of different oils. I also have a recipe. Before this product was around, I was making my own plant-based butter for baking. I don't have oat milk, so I'm using almond milk and some white vinegar. I'm going to combine these two to make buttermilk.
So if you've never made buttermilk before, it's super easy. Watch this.
Plant-based milk, you add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. You can use also lemon juice, but we're running low on lemons, so I don't want to use those up. So I'm going to put 2.5 tablespoons of this white vinegar. Now you have to let this sit for about 10-15 minutes because it will curdle. So here it is. Okay, here it is. It's not even been, it's been 5 minutes. And you can see the curdles already happening. So I'll just, oh boy, that's my dog. I'll just let that keep going and then we'll use it.
So the first bread I'm making is the soda bread, and I'm going to put the dry ingredients into the bowl, which is flour, baking soda. I'll have a link to this recipe in my description. A little bit of salt, and that is some sugar. Whisk that together, and then the buttermilk goes in there. Now, this is a recipe, as you'll see in the end, you definitely need to double or triple it. So both of these recipes I also hand knead. I'm sure you could use a mixer to knead them for you. This is just an experiment for me because really my ultimate goal is to make a really healthy bread. I buy a particular bread that doesn't have any oil or sugar in it, and that's what I want to learn how to make. This is just kind of a practice run, so I'm trying it out, and as you'll see in the end, I prefer the Finnish style of bread that I made.
This is some bread.
I should have known, based on the quantities of the ingredients, that it was going to be tiny. Then it calls for a little scoring on top, which I'm doing here.
So this is the bread, soda bread. So I'm going to put this one aside for now while I make the second loaf. And the second loaf is a Finnish bread called Rieska or Rieska. I'm not 100% on the pronunciation, but this one requires butter and some buttermilk also. So I'm going to use the vegan butter alternative for that. And then I'm going to put them both in the oven. And the oven temperature is about the same, about 400 degrees Celsius. And for 20 minutes or so. Alright, I'm not even washing out my bowl, so I'm going to do the second one, which requires some butter to be cut in. So I've got my buttermilk here, I've got my oats and my flour and sugar, salt and baking soda. So I'm going to first mix all my dry ingredients together, and this calls for 3 cups of flour. I'm just using the all-purpose flour. So this goes in here, so I'll just do that, all the dry ingredients first. That other loaf that I made, that soda bread, that looks like a bun. If that doesn't expand, it's not going to cut it for bread in my household. Then I'm going to use these rolled oats. Now the recipe didn't clarify what kind of oats, so I'm just using these. Now when I was a kid, my mom and my grandmother used to make bread out of leftover oatmeal because we had oatmeal for breakfast every morning. I loved that bread. I loved it, but I can't find that recipe. So this recipe calls for half a cup of oats. So I'm eyeballing it here. Half a cup. And 1/8 of a cup of sugar. So I've got my 1/4 cup measure. I'll do a half a cup of that of sugar. Baking soda. This baking soda, it's 2 teaspoonfuls. I should be accurate with this one because this is the, instead of yeast, you're using the baking soda to give it some airiness and to fluff it up. This one doesn't even call for salt, and I'm guessing it's because they figured that the butter you put in is salty. I'm actually going to put a little tiny smidge of salt in this. So this is the dry ingredients. Now this looks like a more substantial bread that it's going to be. Here's my half a cup of vegan butter that I'm going to cut in. I actually just put it in the freezer for a minute just to get a little bit cooler. And I'm going to use my fingers just to cut in the butter. I'm just going to do this with my fingers. Get it into kind of a mealy consistency, and then I'm going to add the buttermilk. So basically I'm just breaking up the big butter chunks so that they're smaller. That's pretty good. Okay, so now this is just adding the buttermilk. I don't know if I'll add all of this. As you can tell, I'm not a bread maker. I think this is way too loose, so I need more flour. I need an assistant. Oh, this is much better. I think I added too much buttermilk. My fear is that I'm going to make it too dense, but us Finnish people like our really heavy rye breads, so I'm sure this will be fine. Well, that's better. I could be using a bread maker. What's the fun of that? Okay, that's much better. I am not gonna waste, because that is just, I don't know what that's supposed to be, a bun. But this one will definitely move. And I'm gonna put over here. And I'll take that one out. As I said, I am no baker. So you see the size of those loaves? That first one is a bun. So we'll see how it tastes, but if it is something that's good, obviously I'd double or triple that recipe for a loaf of bread. But who knows, maybe it's gonna rise. I have no idea. So it'll be an experiment. But the second one, the Finnish one, now that looks like a loaf of bread. So I'm excited to try that one. As you can tell, there's a bit of a size discrepancy. This is the soda bread, this is the Finnish bread. I'm gonna link the recipes that I found online in the description so you can check them out. I altered this one a bit because I made it vegan. So I made my vegan buttermilk and also had vegan butter. This one doesn't require any oil in it. It did require the vegan buttermilk though for the soda bread. But I mean, look at that. Then I took them out of the oven too early, so I had to put them back in. But I think bread is bread, and when it's warm right out of the oven, it's delicious. So I think even a beginner baker, which I am, can make these. They taste delicious. So it's really easy to make plant-based foods, and it's really easy to cook at home. And I'm so happy that I found these recipes that don't require any yeast. I can't get my hands on any yeast right now, so this is perfect. I'm gonna make more of this one because this is really delicious. I already tasted a little snippet. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen today. If you liked this video and want to see more, subscribe to my channel. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, please. It would really help me out. And I hope this gave you a little bit of insight that you don't have to be perfect when you're baking, and you can bake plant-based and it'll be so much healthier for you. And that's the goal of my channel, is to show you how healthy you can be over 50 with plant-based eating. Have a great day. Bye.